على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سعادة السفير محمد عمران، سفير الجمهورية الباكستانية الإسلامية لدى سلطنة عمان، باسمي وباسم سيدي اللواء ركن بحري علي بن عبد الله الشيدي، آمر كلية الدفاع الوطني والهيئتين الأكاديمية والإدارية بالكلية، سعادة السفير محمد عمران، سفير الجمهورية الباكستانية الإسلامية لدى سلطنة عمان، باسم سيدي اللواء ركن بحري علي بن عبد الله الشيدي، آمر كلية الدفاع الوطني والهيئتين الأكاديمية والإدارية بالكلية، ومشاركي ومشاركات الدورة 12، نرحب بسعادتكم في رحاب كلية الدفاع الوطني. قبل البدء في المحاضرة أستأذن سعادتكم بسرد جزء من أبرز محطات سيرتكم الذاتية. المناصب التي تولاها: التحق سعادة السفير بالسلك الدبلوماسي في باكستان عام 1996، وعمل في العاصمة الأمريكية بواشنطن من عام 2000 إلى 2004، وفي تورنتو بكندا من عام 2009 إلى 2014، ومن عام 2016 إلى عام 2018 شغل مدير برنامج التدريب المشترك للخدمة المدنية، وخلاله عمل بوزارة الخارجية الباكستانية في أقسام أوروبا والولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، وكذلك عمل مديراً لوزيري الخارجية خورشيد محمود قصوري وشاه محمود قريشي. ومن عام 2018 إلى 2022 شغل منصب القنصل العام بالمملكة الإسبانية ببرشلونة. ومن عام 2022 عين كسفير لدى سلطنة عمان. الدراسات والشهادات: حاصل على درجة البكالوريوس في الطب والجراحة من كلية إدوارد الطبية، ودرجة الماجستير في التاريخ والعلوم الإنسانية من جامعة البنجاب، ودرجة الماجستير وما قبل الدكتوراه في السياسة الدولية من جامعتي جورج تاون وجورج واشنطن، وكان تركيزه على العلاقات الأمريكية مع باكستان والهند. وفي الختام أستأذن سعادتكم بالتفضل بإلقاء المحاضرة، متمنيا لكم التوفيق وللحضور تمام الفائدة، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Honorable Commandant, the faculty members of the National Defense College, participants of the course, my colleagues, my very team that I'm very proud of. It feels like homecoming here. I don't know what I'll do. This is probably the last time or the second last time. It's the fourth time that I'm speaking in these halls. And it's always such an honor to first speak here and then receive questions. And sometimes from your questions, I find answers. Today, I'm speaking here at a very, very trying time for the Muslim world, and even a more trying time for the Arab world. And as we speak, I was telling Sir that there doesn't seem to be any good news coming, but then states like Oman and states like Pakistan remain steadfast, and we fight it out. Diplomatically, otherwise we can't let despair and darkness descend on us. But currently there is only despair and darkness despite if I may say so, Oman's very strong diplomatic stance regarding the conflict in Gaza and regarding Lebanon and within the GCC and within the OIC and also bilaterally with us. So the Omani people and the Omani nation, I think, has done beyond its political weight for this. But we need to rethink ourselves and maybe rediscover the Arab mindset or the Muslim mindset. And as we go along, but since the main topic is my country is now, it's a very complex country. It's a mixture of many things. It's not a unilateral affair. It's not, but first and the foremost are the youth, modern youth, educated youth. Some of them within Pakistan, many of them outside Pakistan, who are doing well. It's a democracy. These are the judges. And when Pakistanis see fights amongst the judges, they don't realize that in all democracies of the world, judges have fought over years. If you ever study US constitutional history, you would know that the US, what it is today, was shaped by Chief Justice John Marshall, who remained the Chief Justice for many, many years, I think more than 2 decades. And he shaped the federal structure of the United States, which no president could do. But since we are a younger democracy and we are not, so we sometimes feel very agitated, but this is part of Pakistan. And the parliament, sometimes the parliament is there, sometimes it's not there. But recently, in recent history, we've had a parliament that is pretty powerful and is now a part of the decision making of the state. And instead of regaling you with all other sports, I usually show all sports that Pakistan is good in, but this time this Pakistani athlete won the gold medal in javelin in the Olympics, whereas many countries in our region could not win it. So we are very good in squash and cricket and hockey. But I must tell you, because I always speak very openly in this hall, what you have done in the Emirat, I hope I can pronounce it right, your hockey and cricket stadiums, your cricket academy, your cricket gymnasium is first class. And we are going to again have cricket in Oman. Your hockey AstroTurf is one of the best in the world that I've seen, and I've seen all Spanish AstroTurfs. So incrementally, Oman is doing very well in sports. Women, Pakistan is one of the most liberated, if not the most liberated, but who can I compare it with? Malaysia, Indonesia. Maybe we are more liberated as far as women are concerned. Again, Pakistan does not project itself in the world as well as it should. But it's one of the most liberated. All doctors are women now. The civil service is half and half. We have military fighter pilots. We have a Surgeon General of the Pakistan Army who is a lady. We have other generals. So what are we? Are we Islamic or Western? We are both. We believe in Western parliamentary democracy. We were born for the Muslims of South Asia. It's a state where the West and Islam merge. Are we unitary or federal? Which means, are our provinces sovereign? They are. Sometimes everybody seems to club Pakistan together. It's that state with a strong military, strong nuclear weapons. It's maybe one state. No, Pakistan is 7 or 8 ethnicities merged in one. And we are very lucky that Pakistan does not have any separatist movement or any secessionist movement within itself nowadays. Is it a garrison state or a democratic state? Very good question. So, Pakistan has to be democratic according to the aspirations of its founders. At the same time, Pakistan has to defend two very difficult borders. Whenever I think about Pakistan, because I'm in Oman, in my heart I pay a silent tribute to His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, that he solved all of Oman's borders with his great sense. But we have hot borders. We have to defend those borders. We have terrorism spread inside Pakistan by the world. You might hear propaganda that Pakistan supports non-state actors. If you look at Pakistan's history, Pakistan has been subjected to terrorism by non-state actors. But that's okay. Nations have to face it. We were unluckily, very unluckily, and Pakistan's strategic, because I speak in this hall always from my heart, Pakistan's strategic location is a curse. We like to say diplomatically, it's a curse with opportunities and all that. No. Our strategic location has been historically a curse. In 1954, we were the front line of the Cold War. In 1979, Afghanistan, and 2001, again the 9/11 attacks. So it's not good to be center stage. It's good to be away from the center stage. It's good to be away from conflict. If you are away from conflict, you can concentrate on your people and on your internal strengths. If you are always in the center of a conflict, your eyes are on the borders. What people don't realize about Pakistan is that Pakistan's inter-services intelligence broke the back of Al-Qaeda. Had the ISI not stood in and broken Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda was not broken by the US. Al-Qaeda was created by the US, by the policies of the US. We broke Al-Qaeda. Khalid Sheikh bin Mohammed lived in a house half a mile from where my mother lives, in Rawalpindi. And we broke the back of Al-Qaeda and all others in urban centers and other places. So I would like to be very proud of the fact that we broke Al-Qaeda. We are subjected to others, but we did not let ISIS take hold in Pakistan. We are the front line for ISIS. There might be elements, but we have broken ISIS. And I'll tell you why it's very difficult. Islam, democracy and constitutionalism. Sometimes Pakistanis feel we can't handle all three. So sometimes we have to make choices. State disintegration in South Asia and Middle East. There have been efforts to disintegrate Pakistan since its birth. We were not given our little pennies when India was divided. We didn't have anything. I usually tell the whole story, but today, because there are other bigger things. So we survived through the initial years with great difficulty and with God's help. We have been used many times by the world as a frontline state. The moment the frontline threat goes away, we are left out in the cold. From 1947 to late 60s, like other states in the world, and because of the idealism of our leaders, we thought that the multilateral system is great, that the UN would help everything. And we learned through very hard hits that we have to defend ourselves Otherwise, our sovereignty and our independence would be lost. Now we face terrorism through other states. So you see, this is Pakistan. On one side, you have Al Qaeda and ISIS, and on the other side, you have India. The Indian model, and please understand this, Pakistan's nationalism and the beauty of Pakistan doesn't rely on anti-India rhetoric. We are least pushed. And quite frankly, we're not interested in peace with India anymore. Until they come forward now, we've tried enough for peace. We've learned the hard way that you can't convince them of peace, you have to protect yourself hard. So on one side you have Afghanistan with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, TTP. On the other border you have Indian state terrorism. The Indian model is now to go into other states. They went into Qatar, I think. They went into Canada. They went into the US to assassinate people. It's the same model as the Israeli model. You know more than me how many Iranians and how many Hezbollah, Hamas or others, and maybe even the political leadership of Iran has been eliminated. So both of them come from the same playbook. We'll handle India. We don't want to be like Ukraine at the moment. Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons, and look what happened to it. Make no bones about it. We are very proud of our nuclear capability. We will retain it, and also make no bones about it, we are developing tactical nuclear weapons. If somebody casts an eye on us, we do not believe in the no first use policy, because we cannot face the world in conventional arms. So, whatever the declared policy, Pakistan will keep on developing tactical nuclear weapons, battlefield nuclear weapons, and if somebody casts an eye on our boundaries, we'll use them. Just in case you need reminding, I'm sure this map is written into your hearts. That's what Palestine was, that's what Palestine is now. So does the greed of Israel, or does the greed of an aggressor, does it stop after reducing the greens to these dots? Do you think that aggressive states, after they've eaten you up, they do peace with you? That's the lesson of interstate relations. There was a time when I was growing as a liberal and studying in the US, and I had these flighty ideas that, look, if you give a state this, find peace. No. You have to be ready for the worst. And after eating up the Palestinian people, this is what they're getting now. Fine. There are fake narratives. Blame Iran for everything. Blame Hezbollah for everything. Blame Hamas for everything. Evoke Israeli self-defense. I have literally fought on the phone with hours over my friends who I studied with in the US. I don't like to go back in an argument. I fight with them. I said, what is self-defense? Is there a proportionate response? It's the biggest lie of this world to evoke the doctrine of self-defense for Israel. You don't even need to show this. This is Kashmir. Try to understand. Kashmiris are our blood. Kashmiris are our family. The former Prime Minister of Pakistan and the current Prime Minister of Pakistan, the Sharif brothers, are Kashmiris. Kashmiri families live with us. They have run away from Indian occupied Kashmir to live in Pakistan. When we see this on television, we can't remain aloof. Let the world accuse us of cross-border this or cross-border that. If you will kill my brothers and sisters, do you expect me to close my eyes and take a pill to sleep? No. There's a blanket, a dark blanket, a fake election taking place. But will that resolve Kashmir? No. Will killing so many in Gaza and occupying Gaza resolve Gaza? No. A new generation full of hatred will rise up until you have a two-state solution in Palestine, which again is unjust to the Palestinians. Fine, they agreed to it. Did the world do it? No. Similarly in Kashmir, if you pick up 15,000 youngsters, put them in jails all across, torture them, and try to fool the world with your trade and dances, the issue won't be resolved. This is our unfortunate geostrategic location. Yes, if there is peace in Afghanistan, we can move a lot as a transit, as a border, Gwadar and CPEC, perfect. But there is a big if. If there is peace on one side, if India keeps on destabilizing us because it doesn't want Gwadar to succeed or for CPEC to succeed, we'll make it succeed. My colleagues, some of who are sitting here, they will defend Pakistanis and Chinese who are in CPEC. But there is this constant threat upon us, a constant hot situation on the border. Both our countries, suddenly nowadays there's a lot of focus on what would happen if the war enlarges. We'll stand and die together, Oman and Pakistan. We've done so. We have saved each other's lives. We have flown each other's injured, and we'll do so again. The founder of Pakistan, found through constitutionalism, through talks, and some money was transferred from Hyderabad due to the Korean War to save us. The moment we were born, there was no money. We did not have a single penny. And the British, all their orders that were for Pakistan were disobeyed. They were also not interested. These are the refugees. Just imagine, India was large, so the refugees, the weight was less. Imagine our plight. I am a refugee. My father and the family ran from Ludhiana in a train that was cut to pieces. My maternal grandfather was killed. My paternal grandfather, who decided to remain in India, died a lonely death. So we suffered at partition. The second thing is water. Pakistan, the division was done in such a way that the upper riparian was left with India. And it was a very unfair award. Sometimes nowadays we are threatened with water wars. Whenever we raise our voice for Kashmir, the new aggressive RSS or the Indian Hindutva policy, it doesn't care about world laws or traditions. It just threatens. So in the beginning, when we did not have an army, we did not have money, we needed strength to stand up, we became friends with the US. We became a frontline state in 1954. In fact, planes were flown from Pakistan to spy onto the USSR, and the USSR became our enemy. But we needed somebody to make our armed forces. Otherwise, we would have been eaten up. So we made a choice, and I think it was the right choice. Maybe we continued too long with it, but it was the right choice. We solved the water issues through an unfair water treaty, the Indus Basin Water Treaty. We have control of 3 rivers, they have control of 3. Nowadays, with impunity, they stop water from the rivers that they were not supposed to touch, using some international law clauses. Thank God for the next 20 or 30 years, there's enough water in the Indus Basin. And Pakistan is on the way to making dams, but it's been slow, it's been careless. Pakistan must complete the 2 dams, and once they're completed, I think in 6 years' time, we will become one of the greatest food producing nations in the world again. In the 60s, we were the model developing state. All the scholars of the world thought Pakistan was the greatest developing state. And so from 1947 to 65, we kept on knocking the doors of the United Nations to solve the Kashmir issue. And we got fake promises, we got resolutions that were never implemented. Doesn't it sound familiar? Doesn't it sound familiar to the resolutions in the Middle East? We did not have money. We must pay homage, at least for this, to Gandhiji. He was so baffled at the sight of the Muslims being killed in Delhi, right in front of Nehru and Patelji, that he underwent a fast. He didn't know what to do, and he said 2 things. I will die if you don't give Pakistan's money to Pakistan, or if you don't stop killing Muslims. He was killed by a Hindu extremist because he took a stand for Pakistan. The British gave up. They said, we can never do justice to Pakistan. You'll hear some people say that British connived to make Pakistan and all that. No. Till the last breath, Mountbatten decided to thwart Pakistan. This is the Field Marshal in charge of India and Pakistan. So, we did restraint on Kashmir twice. When the Indochina War was taking place, we could have taken Kashmir. But the US pleaded with us, and we were its ally, that please show restraint. After the war, we'll solve Kashmir. They didn't. Then we showed restraint in 1965 by not taking Akhnur, and again there was some assurance, and we again didn't take it. These are the 2 biggest mistakes of Pakistan's history. When nations are given time once in a lifetime, when you make mistakes of moments, then you pay for centuries for those mistakes. And the Muslim world should also learn it. By the way, as an aside, when Pakistan used to talk about Islamic ideology and everything, I think King Farouk of Egypt used to make fun of Pakistan. He used to say maybe Islam was discovered the day Pakistan was born. If King Farouk would be alive today, I would ask King Farouk, what does he think of the situation today? We sometimes accused of helping non-state actors. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of Mukti Bahani were trained by India when East Pakistan seceded. Then we again became a frontline state in 1979 and afterwards. And then we had 5 million Afghan refugees. They don't want to go back. We don't want to send them by force. Sometimes we try to cajole them, but then our heart gives up. I'm telling you about the Pakistani state. We don't want to throw away our Muslim brothers by force. It's not the UN, it's not anybody else. But they are not going back. They have found lives in Pakistan. But at the same time, we are facing a threat from Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. It's a very bad terrorist group, and it mingles with the refugees. So then you come to a paradox. What do you do? That's the problem in being a frontline state. We again went to the US We became the frontline nation after 9/11. There's a long history. We cooperated, and the only good thing about 9/11 and Afghanistan was that we were able, despite the best efforts of the world, to become nuclear. Had we not been frontline in the 80s and then 2001, we would have been crushed. There were efforts to attack the nuclear program in Kahuta and other places, but we were able to do it because we were a frontline state, although the world tried its best. The last war before this one, it took place in Kargil, in the Kargil Heights. And again, the world pressure forced Pakistan to come back. Although India had done a similar thing in 1984 and occupied the Siachen Glacier. But the latest episode took place 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when Indians invaded Balakot. They crossed the main Pakistani border. It was actually done for an election, the last election. This is the election prior to the last election, which Modi Sahib had to win. And he thought he will invade Pakistan by air, make false claims. They had the Su-30s from Russia. Thankfully, we shot, in a rare act of bravery and excellence of the Air Force, we shot the planes down from within our borders. And these were the two pilots who shot the two planes down. And we returned the pilot 2 days later because the then Prime Minister Imran Khan and the then Army Chief thought that keeping prisoners was not good, and they returned. Now, after so many years, India has started parading a narrative that they threatened Pakistan to give back the pilot. If we had shot down 2 planes, we would have shot 3 more. So even if you do a good deed, if you can't win the battle of the airwaves, your good deed becomes an act of weakness. These two people, and might I say Nawaz Sharif and Vajpayee, they were 2 statesmen, and Musharraf and Vajpayee were 2 statesmen who could have solved Kashmir. President Musharraf, the late President Musharraf, went back on all Pakistan stances, just like the 2-state solution a week, and gave the idea of demilitarization, joint control, so that both countries' egos would be safeguarded. We came close, the talks went on, but whenever we came close to peace, India never wanted it. Peace is always won at the battlefield, not on the desk. Pellet guns, women, and all that, Kashmiris have suffered a lot. We have done what we could and what we can and what we will in all spheres to help Kashmir. We will never let Kashmir down. But we are confronted with a state 5 times our size and now an ally of the United States to contain China. So we have to be aware of the world. We are part of and very proud part of the UN peacekeeping. We embrace Shahadat for the UN. We, like I told you, our premier intelligence agency destroyed Al-Qaeda. And it's also an institution along with our military, along with our other intelligence agencies, civilian intelligence agencies, with our security apparatus, which is essential to deal with Pakistan with two hot borders. We, I think, have solely been responsible for the territorial integrity of Afghanistan. if you go into detail of the history, we have always kept the territorial integrity alive. Because had we taken our hands off, or had we followed a scorched earth policy that the US told us, Afghanistan would have been divided into 4 states. Our Navy is very proud of being involved in the region. The Omani Navy knows it, your commandant knows it, your COSAF knows it, the whole military leadership is very close to our military leadership. We have no irritants. We have no irritants in defense. In fact, the cooperation is increasing. Students go to NDC. I am sure Pakistani officers should come to this institution. That's something in the tail. Whenever we are not frontline, sanctions are put on us. Sometimes due to our pursuit of the nuclear program, I want to look into the eyes of the US, the UK, the UN, the whole Western world, and say to them, we were right, you were wrong. The world has proven that it's important to fortify your defenses. Had we not fortified then, in defiance of you, you would have shut your eye when we would have been invaded. We kept on telling the world that you cannot create an army from nothing. So the US and its allies spent billions of dollars on creating a fake army. The fake army could not last one day. It just faded away. When the Taliban marched on Kabul, every province fell like 9 pins. And you would have seen the planes in which Afghans were, they climbed onto the planes, they were killed, and many of them have been left to rot. And the US is now trying, through us, to get them out of Afghanistan. Pakistan Airlines got many officials of the world out of Afghanistan. At that time, we again became central, but we did it as part of our human duty. We didn't do it as part of being a client state or anything. We have had enough of becoming a client state. We have learnt our lessons. This is what was spent on the war in Afghanistan. Maybe close to 2 trillion, 1.5 trillion, God knows. You cannot kill a people and stop their desire for freedom and self-determination. Self-determination is more important than food, than water. This was a conference in which Oman participated with us, where we helped defreeze Afghanistan's bank accounts. They had nothing to eat. We were in the forefront. Oman supported us. I, in fact, went to many meetings in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Oman, and I always found Oman to understand that you cannot starve a nation and expect it to behave on women's rights and human rights. It takes time. You are an oasis of peace. When we officers sit together, we sometimes say, how did Oman manage to resolve its regional conflicts first and then become an oasis of peace for all sorts of back channel talks? Back channel talks are again taking place in November 15th and 16th on India, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So they think it's a big secret. I'm telling you the big secret, and it's in Kempinski. I mean, this picture says it all, the headline says it all. China, you, were both central to peace, which was overtaken by events, unfortunately. But you did the impossible. Epicenter of regional talks, epicenter of peace, epicenter of good sense, epicenter of common sense, epicenter of keeping the tone down, epicenter of remaining quiet and not shouting, epicenter of calmness. That's what you are. This year has been very productive in Pakistan-Oman relations. We had a hiatus of so many years and nothing was being done. I want to congratulate my team here who have worked day and night in the commerce side, in the defense side, in the community side, the labor side, the immigration side. I hope I'm not missing visa. We have opened visas for you. You don't need visas if you're going for tourism or if you're going for business. You can just enter Pakistan. We did it without asking for any reciprocity. In fact, on the other hand, our visas have been made stricter in the GCC due to what I might say are very flimsy reasons. But we are working with Oman to vet people who want to come into Oman in Pakistan through independent agencies, but that's another story. So these talks were very fruitful and held in a very cordial atmosphere. Your Undersecretary for Overseas Investment undertook a visit to Pakistan. This is Pakistan's Minister of Trade, and it was a very productive visit. And this was the same visit. This is Pakistan's newly created Special Investment Facilitation Council. It's been more than an year old now, and it brings in civil and military officers, and it gives permanence to investment in Pakistan. There have been many breakthroughs with Korea, with Japan. We are on the verge of having breakthroughs with Oman. So when you invest in Pakistan now, it's not going to be affected by any change of government. It brings an institutional permanence to investment. I'm very honored to be the ambassador who will hold the first Pakistan-Oman Expo on the 13th and the 14th of October next week. This will be the first ever Pakistani business conference expo, and whenever I'll retire, this will go down as one of the achievements that my team was able to do. It's still a week away. We're trying our best, but we'll inshallah make it happen. It's open for all of you. We would welcome all officers, all staff, everybody to come and see what Pakistan produces. It's at the Intercity Hotel, and in the end I'll play a video to introduce it. Like I said, a very golden year in Pakistan-Oman relations. This is Pakistan's Minister for Overseas Pakistanis who came here, who had wonderful meetings with your Minister of Labour, path-breaking meeting. Some visas which were stuck for the school. Your Minister, Excellency, he was generous enough to understand my viewpoint and open the visas. So we can now hire 20 more teachers along with the 500 or so for the school which was stuck up. He laid the foundation stone of a new Pakistan International School in Seeb. It will be a state-of-the-art school. He met with your Minister of Religious Affairs. This is a Pakistan school. Wonderful meeting again. We learnt a lot about, and I knew, but he was startled to know that all your khutbahs are online. They are transmitted on Wednesday to all the mosques. Nobody can add or subtract violence or politics to it. In our country, Friday is a very critical day for protests because they say all sorts of things in mosques. So we are cooperating in a software that you have. This was a meeting that took place earlier. I am telling you this fondly because my army chief was here and I requested him to meet your housing minister. And it was a 1.5 hour meeting, a 90 minutes meeting, and it resulted in solving all outstanding dues in millions that the Pakistani school system, because of the land it had leased and it had not done its homework, he understood. He also gave us support in making other schools, and he also awarded us this wonderful piece of land in Seeb to make a state-of-the-art international school. And I'll be very proud to inaugurate what I think will be one of the best international schools in Oman. We did something unprecedented again. The previous Chinese ambassador, I went to her, actually she had come to my home, and I requested her that we needed very moderately priced furniture from China because what we were getting from Dubai and Oman was very costly. The materials were good, but it was very costly. So China helped us, and this was appreciated by our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that we, with Chinese help, we brought all the furniture for the 7 Pakistan schools, and at 1/4 of the cost available in the international market. One figure which I'll always take with me is the state of finances of the Pakistan school. I came here in 2022, and I'm very proud to say that my active and sometimes disliked interest in the Pakistan school system has led to it reaping profits of this margin, 300,000, actually it's even more. This is in addition to modernizing the school, having smart boards, starting Arabic classes, and introducing the Cambridge system. This surplus is in addition to that. We also had our education minister come here. He was very well received. He took part in the multilateral educational conference, which, by the way, was absolutely beautifully managed and held in Oman. It was flawless. During this time, he had fruitful discussions with Iran, the Palestinian ambassador, and although it's going to be announced in a few days, Pakistan offered to educate all Palestinian children displaced by war, a blanket opening, at least I think it's very less that we're doing for Palestine, but that has been done. So any Palestinian displaced or otherwise can have all his education in Pakistan. And here back, we signed the agreement between the Foreign Services Academies, and the rest about Pakistan-Oman relations is a long history. I can answer questions. The only factor is that Pakistan and Oman, primarily Pakistan, has not tried enough. We, inshallah, are going to have a high-level visit of the Prime Minister or the Foreign Minister in the next 3 months. That will cap off our most productive years. But how do we go back? I want to go back to the last pictorial slide. Okay. So it will cap it. We have invited His Majesty and other cabinet ministers, many of them, to visit Pakistan. I think Pakistan and Oman can benefit each other not by emails only. I think we need to visit. We need to go. If I don't know, can you play the video? Just a 1 minute video, and that will cap my lesson off. Maybe subjects are left. I would be glad to answer them. The question answer session is always beautiful. Assalamu alaikum ji, this is Imran. I am Pakistan's ambassador to the Sultanate of Oman, and I am very excited to invite all of you to the first ever Pakistan Expo in Oman.
Assalamu alaikum ji, my name is Hussain Bhatti and I am the Commercial Councillor, Pakistan Embassy, Muscat.
Assalamu alaikum everybody, my name is Imran Ikram. I am a Group Chief Executive Officer of Mohammed Riaz and Partners. Pakistan Embassy is organizing the first ever Pak Oman Trade Show 2024 on 13th and 14th October in
मेरा नाम चौधरी मोहम्मद असलम है, मैं 76 से ओमान में हूँ.
I am Muhammad Riyaz, Chairman of Muhammad Riyaz and Partner. We welcome you all.
Hello everyone, I am Zaish. Do join us in upcoming expo. Thank you.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूँ अज़रा अलीम। ओमान में होने जा रही है पाक ओमान एग्जीबिशन।
मेरा नाम कमर रियाज है और यहाँ 13 और 14 अक्टूबर को एक्सपो का इनेकाद किया जा रहा है।
Join Pak Oman Expo and reap the benefits.
Please join us to explore a diverse showcase of Pakistani businesses.
أخوكم أمير حمزة رئيس مجلس إدارة للمدارس الباكستانية. أدعوكم جميعا للمشاركة في إكسبو العماني الباكستاني.
Please join us.
So I really look forward to seeing you at the InterCity Hotel on the 13th and the 14th of October to really enjoy the greatest ever Pakistan-Oman extravaganza. Thank you very much.
مرحبا
مرحبا مرحبا
مرحبا مرحبا مرحبا
مرحبا بكم فيك.
شكرا سعادتك العميد سلطان الغافري مدير الدورة. طبعا من خلال المحاضرة استطعت أن أدون بعض الملاحظات أو ألخص بعض ما ذكره سعادة السفير، وأبرز هذه النقاط هو أبرز ملامح الدبلوماسية الباكستانية والعمانية والقواسم المشتركة بين البلدين. أيضا تطرق سعادة السفير إلى تعقيدات المشهد على المستوى الإقليمي والعالمي. أيضا تطرق إلى أهمية السلطتين القضائية والتشريعية في جمهورية باكستان الإسلامية، إضافة إلى تطرق إلى حقوق المرأة في باكستان في ظل التنوع العرقي الباكستان. أيضا تطرق إلى أنه باكستان دولة ديمقراطية يندمج فيها القيم الإسلامية مع القيم الغربية. كذلك تطرق إلى أنه موقع باكستان استراتيجي منحها كثير من المزايا، في المقابل أيضا تجابه كثير من التحديات بحكم الموقع الاستراتيجي. تطرق سعادته أيضا إلى الصراع التاريخي بين باكستان والهند على إقليم كشمير متنازع عليه بين البلدين، والصراع أيضا في أفغانستان وما تسبب ذلك أيضا من تحديات على باكستان. في أفغانستان عفوا تسبب بعض التحديات على باكستان. أيضا تطرق إلى جهود باكستان في حفظ السلام والاستقرار في المنطقة والعالم، وتطرق أيضا التعاون العسكري العماني الباكستاني المشترك. وأخيرا أيضا تطرق إلى العلاقات والتعاون أو استشراف المستقبل لمستقبل التعاون والعلاقات العمانية الباكستانية.